Yellow.
Sup?
Hi, welcome to the Freemium podcast, everybody. Today I got my brother Liam Killen in the house. He's, I guess you can call it a YouTuber, a content creator, one of those professions that all the kids want to be these days.
It's the number one, apparently.
Yeah, everyone wants to be Mr. Beast or some type of YouTube creator, so you're living the dream.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, my name's Curtis Killen, the host. I'm also the president at KBD Insurance. We do home, car, and business insurance. Do not worry, we're not going to be talking about insurance today. I know it's a boring subject. We're going to focus today on Liam stuff, and I'm looking forward to today's conversation. Thank you so much for coming out.
Me too.
You tried to cancel.
I didn't.
You tried to cancel? Okay, hold on. He's like, oh, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can make it to today's podcast. I'm going to Germany. I'm like, well,
first of all, it wasn't today.
Let me finish, please. Let me finish.
Yeah, but you're saying I was going to cancel today, which is not true.
He's like, I have to go to Germany. I go, when are you going to Germany? He's like, look, it's like May 19th or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have a shit ton of stuff to do. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Sure, go for it.
I got lots of shit to do before then. I actually do.
I'm just busting your balls.
I know.
It's fine. But in all seriousness, thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
And I didn't even really look at the topics we're going to cover today, but we can kind of start with the fact that you're a YouTuber. You're officially a YouTuber. You get paid by YouTube. You get paid by sponsorships. You get paid there's a lot of stuff that you do. So tell us about yourself and what it is that you're doing right now.
So yeah, YouTube, just the background of what I do. I started about 3.5 years ago. Just like focusing on electronic music and specific products.
Yep.
One product in particular is called the OP1. And yeah, so I just focused on that. Was making content related to that. Basically wasn't making any money whatsoever for about the first year. Over the first year, I would say I was just going into debt. And it was just kind of a risk, something that I wanted to try to do and saw some potential in it. And then it just flourished into something. I got job offers for other companies. There's one called Analog Cases, so I started making content for them. Other companies as well. And then the sponsorships came in, and now I'm just like overwhelmed with things to do. I knew that there was some potential. I didn't know it was to this degree, though. Like the amount of work and headroom that you have is just, it's like the amount of opportunity you have is crazy. And it was the perfect time too, because now everything is, as you know, it's online now, a lot of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a good move for me.
Especially the younger generation. I mean, a lot of times I have buddies, I'm 34, so I have buddies, let's say 40, 41, 42. They have kids that are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. They watch Instagram, they watch YouTube, they watch TikTok. I would say Instagram and YouTube, though, are the big ones. That's where they are. They're not really on. My buddy Zach, who's saying his kids, his son in particular, to get sports highlights and stuff like that, he's getting everything from Instagram. Yeah. He's not going on cable. He's not watching the TV. He's watching his phone. Yeah.
YouTube or just Instagram?
Instagram. Mostly he's on YouTube as well, but most of his highlights and stuff, his hockey highlights, his whole feed is just
interesting.
Is hockey pretty much, because his son really likes hockey.
Yeah.
I just want to back up a little bit, Liam, before we get into the YouTube stuff. What made you? He's like laughing, so I'm kidding. You probably can't even take me seriously.
No, you're like, yeah. No, it's good.
But I want to back up a little bit, because you've always been a musician. So you started off, when you were a kid. When did you start playing the drums?
I think I was 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, just a little tangent here. I remember when I used to be, so a little story, Liam and he'd be down in the basement, because the drums were down in the basement. And I grew up in the West Island of Montreal in Pointe Claire. So there was 3 floors. You had the basement, the main floor, then we had upstairs. So I'd be upstairs in my room, literally as far as you can get from the drums. And I would just always hear the bass, the boom, 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 boom. And I would wait. Like, okay, it's going to pass while I'm doing my homework and stuff. This is before AirPods and stuff where you can drown out the noise. And I didn't hear anything, just the bass, boom,
yeah,
boom,
that would be annoying.
And I remember just once I went, that's it. And I used to just, quite often, I'm the older brother, and I would literally just toss my book on the floor and I'd run downstairs And Liam would literally hear me coming, and I would just open the door. I wouldn't say a word, and I just start beating him up. Yeah. Those are the teenage days.
I remember this. There was another time I used to clean Dad's office. Remember, like the old Technia Sur, I guess, whatever, the one on
St.
close
John's.
to Marlowe's.
Uh-huh.
And I was cleaning it, and I was kind of in my own zone, just like zoning out. And I had the vacuum cleaner, and I was going, and I was like creating a rhythm with the vacuum cleaner. And you guys walked in, you're like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
But here, let's get back on track.
Okay.
You got to stop moving the mic.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. So, you've always been into music.
Yeah.
You started out playing the drums. You went to Vanier in music. You went to McGill in music. You've been surrounded by music. You're definitely, I would consider you a musician. I think you would consider yourself a musician as well. What made you make the switch from, because a lot of time musicians, it's pretty well known that it's very difficult to make it as a musician if you want to make money in the profession. Was that the only reason that you switched over to this YouTube career? What made you make the switch from kind of going, gigs and playing in the band, doing the drums and stuff like that? Was there anything in particular that happened that said, okay, hey, I don't really want to do this anymore. I want to make a switch and start going the YouTube route and making these types of videos?
It's a good question. So the band life is it's a very specific lifestyle. I didn't like working with bands anymore because there's a lot of we'll call them interesting characters in that whole scene. And working with these people was just like draining me in a way. And so it was also the perfect timing because, COVID happened. So I stopped soon, around COVID. And that's when everything went online. So it was like a perfect time to switch. And I just wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to have full control over what I, my profession and what I was doing and my creation. And being like sort of a piece of the puzzle as a drummer in the band. And I was like a hired gun in most cases, right? So I was like the odd man out. I was the new guy, and I was the drummer. So that Dave Grohl said that drummer, youngest guy in the band, and what was the third one? Odd man out, whatever, hired gun. So you're not really friends with these people. You're just you're in this weird position. You're a rental, and like you become friends with them, but it's just not the right. I realized that it wasn't the right dynamic for me. It just felt kind of fake because I wouldn't hang out with these people outside of like this musical setting. So yeah, the YouTube thing was very appealing to me, and I got into electronic music and got interested in these different instruments, and then was like, maybe I could leverage myself in a way with these instruments, sort of like feature them in videos and like, but also feature my own creativity, and that could be the content. And that's what I tried, and it's been working. So.
And what's been working the best so far?
Just continuing to try to inspire people with these different instruments and working in collaboration with these companies and using that sort of as like a leverage for my own content.
So here, let's
own music.
And can you? So you and I I understand what it is that you do on YouTube and stuff. But for the viewers and for the first time, you already have an existing audience. But for my audience that doesn't know exactly what it is that you do, can you kind of dumb it down and explain what it is that you do on YouTube? Because when you say OP1, people are gonna think Star Wars. So
you should put a picture of the OP1 on there. And
his name's Joey
and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So like dumb it down, give us in layman's terms what it is exactly that you do.
Right. So, electronic music. So obviously when you say that, people think DJ. So there's not only DJs, there's like other instruments and stuff too. And you use these tools to create music, to record music basically and record it into, it's called a digital audio workstation. So anyways, it's a way to record music and create music, and like, that's it. It's as simple as that. And that's my answer.
So simple as that. And more or less, so when you're producing the content, is goal number one for you to inform, or I guess give a tutorial to the viewer about how to use this particular...
Exactly.
Is it an instrument or electronic tool? What do we call that?
Yeah, it's an instrument, yeah.
An instrument.
Or like a synthesizer, which is basically like a keyboard. sort of like a piano.
It's like a piano.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same sort of thing, but electronic.
And so basically, are you always doing the same instruments? Are you always giving tutorials on the same instruments, or are you giving tutorials on different instruments?
Now I'm giving tutorials on there's a whole market now of new like desktop instruments that I give tutorials on.
Desktop instruments.
Yeah. So
it's a software, or it's
still
a hardware product?
A desktop in the sense that it's small enough to fit on your desktop.
Got it. Okay.
Because there's much bigger synthesizers where it's like it takes up a whole, it's huge.
Yeah.
And then there's much smaller ones that are still able to do pretty much the same amount that the big ones are able to do now. So everything is just shrunk, and it's more marketable too when it's small like that. So I sort of veer towards those instruments, and also I'm just more interested in them. So that's what I focus on, and that's what my channel is about specifically. So smaller instruments as opposed to the bigger ones, and what you could do with those. Yeah. So, and that's another topic that I should bring up, is that everything that I'm doing with each video, everything is becoming more and more pigeonholed.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
So it's becoming more specific, and I'm like more niche, and I'm like finding my spot.
Got it.
On the internet.
Got it.
And I think for me, that's just been the best way to do it, to be more and more specific with the way that I create music and the instruments that I use and how I use them. So it's like, it's me. It's becoming more and more me, And I think, yeah.
Do you find that as you're becoming more niche, or niche, as they like niche in America, niche in Quebec? I think it's niche in the
I say niche.
Niche, same thing.
Potato.
Yeah, the first time I went to the US and they kept saying niche. What the hell is niche? I'm like, oh, niche. Mm-hmm. Anyways, yeah. Tomato, potato.
Think you probably watch Think Media videos, right?
Think Media?
It's like a YouTube channel specifically for showing you how to make a YouTube channel, and like giving you tips for that sort of thing. Anyway, so
I have seen videos. I don't think I've seen that particular channel.
It's a guy from Las Vegas, and his expression is, the riches are in the niches.
Nice.
But
that was my next question before you cut me off.
Okay.
So on this, have you been experiencing, do you think the fact that you are experiencing more success on your YouTube channel, your subscriber list keeps growing, you keep getting more views, do you think that's because you're becoming better at editing? Do you think that's because you're becoming more niche in the content that you're creating? Do you think that's because of word of mouth? Why do you think it is that do you think that's because of consistency?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a bit of everything? Do you think it's...
I think that obviously the ones you hear the most are consistency, more specific content over time, more personal to what I do. But I think one thing that's overlooked is alignment. So especially for what I do, I create content for new products as well. So I'm in collaboration with all these different companies, and they're like, oh, we have a new product coming out. Can you review it on?
So a new synthesizer company would say, hey, here's a new synthesizer we're releasing.
Yeah.
Can you give a tutorial? Is it a review or a tutorial?
Either or. It's whatever. That's gray.
Okay.
And they'll say, okay, it's called day one content. So on day one, I would have, it's basically an ad. They're like, we want you to do an ad for this product on day one when we release it. So I have the power of a giant synth company behind me, all the marketing from that. That's behind my video that I release. So that's a great way to get views for what I do.
Would they put your YouTube video on their webpage, for example?
They might. Yeah, they sometimes do that, but it's mostly just through the algorithm through YouTube, because people realize that that's kind of where it's at now.
Do you ever think about asking them how much traffic they get to those new product web pages and say, okay, cool, I'll do this for you, no problem, pay me this. I also want my YouTube link, my YouTube video on your web page. You ever think about that? It's just extra views, probably.
They have done it a few times. I haven't asked them, but I'm actually working in collaboration with someone who has like a blog specifically on effects pedals. So it's whatever, it's some other music thing. And that's exactly what we're doing. He has like tons of traffic, and I'll probably be putting my videos on his channel as well. Yeah.
If you get because there's just one thing for looking at a little tangent we can take here. We're looking at, myself and Natalie, we're looking to do some advertising on I guess finance influence, because it's insurance, right? So like finance influencers or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And there's this one, I won't say the name. I didn't like the content anyways, but they got a lot of views, whether they were good views or not good views, who knows? Mm-hmm. It was like a guy and a girl from Toronto somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so we reached out to them, hey, for us to feature or to us have an ad, a KBD Insurance ad, how much would it cost? They had like 10,000 views. These assholes wanted like $4,500. I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Okay.
Like, but just dumb stuff like that. The point I'm just trying to get to those, I feel like if you were to pitch it, like, do you have a pitch deck when these people are reaching out to you? Yeah, you got to get a pitch deck, man. And like ask for like a little bit more. Why not? They're reaching out to you.
Something to think about. Something to think.
You don't ask, you don't get.
My pitch deck is my content.
No, I get that, of course, but your content's there. But you can kind of say, this is how many
It's
views
more
you're going to
official.
get. This is how, this is typically speaking, if I do a video, these are the amount of views. I put it up on YouTube Shorts. I put it up on TikTok. I put it up on, that's what we started doing. That's what I'm starting to do now to try and get podcast guests. Because the trick to having a podcast, and from what I'm seeing so far, well, number one, it needs to be good content. But number two, if you're talking to someone who already has another existing audience, it's a hack to kind of grow the YouTube channel faster. Because if I'm speaking to someone and they're super interesting, but they don't have an existing audience,
Right.
it's only my audience that's going to see it. And I've noticed that with other content creators and YouTubers, they're always collaborating, they're always synergizing their audiences, and they'll kind of crisscross their audiences because it's a great way to kind of just grow your audience and stuff like that. So
yeah, definitely something. Yeah, I'll consider
just
that for
just food for thought. It's like,
Yeah.
you're not really changing anything. You're basically it's just giving you, in my opinion, giving you more negotiating power.
Yeah.
To kind of say, hey, one of your video, I'll do a video for you. I have an audience. This is how many people are going to see your stuff.
Yeah.
This is the money I want.
Yeah. The thing about YouTube is that it's not that consistent. So you could promise something and be like, yeah, you'll get 10,000 views, but then they might get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
I feel like there's a way to do that, but across all platforms, most of the time, to be honest, on the videos that we produce, it's, if you take the aggregate, like one might get 10,000 views on Instagram and it might get 1,000 views on TikTok for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But typically speaking, if you do across all platforms, so if you take Shorts, Reels, TikTok, those are like the three big ones. And the YouTube, the actual channel itself.
Yeah.
In my experience, it's been pretty consistent.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it's not, because I can have one video that pops off and gets 50,000 views on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then the next video gets 5,000. So it's like,
what was that term you said earlier? Dummy viral?
Goes dummy viral.
But what's the cutoff for dummy viral?
Like the starting point?
Is that 1 million? Is that
I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to you to decide. Depends on the niche.
Fair enough. It's like for the Nelk Boys. They had Donald Trump on again on the YouTube video.
I saw that.
Dude, it's like 3 million views.
Of course.
It's been, when I looked this morning, 3 million views in 17 hours. What does a Mr. Beast video do in 17 hours? Like 10 mil in 17 hours?
Something like that. But his whole structure, right? He has like all these different channels now in different languages.
Yes.
So he's getting a lot more than that.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. I can't even imagine. He's been doing it for so long.
I know.
It's crazy. And he's a force of nature.
He is. So what's it like producing content? Would you say it's draining sometimes? Would you say it's difficult to always have to kind of be creative? Is it? I know
that's difficult. Yeah.
Here, let's hear. Yeah. Let me rephrase that question.
Okay.
Let's go through the pros and the cons of creating content.
Okay.
So what are the good things that you really enjoy about creating content, about being a YouTuber, I guess we can say?
Having full creativity is great. I like to envision things and follow through with that vision and have I just like having full control of that, control over everything. Maybe I have control issues. I don't know. What else? Obviously the recognition of putting out the content and people like it, which is great.
Yeah.
So you get that feedback. There's like an audience creator relationship, which I really like. It's really fulfilling too when people like your content. They say, oh, I watch your video to learn this and that, and like you really inspire me. That's a huge thing about what I do too. I try to inspire people, and that's my main goal.
Inspire them to do what? To
create music with their instruments and just like get their head out of whatever else is happening in the day or in life, and just use their instruments and have fun and use it as an outlet, or to maybe encourage them to do something more professional, like whatever it is.
Is that your why? Like
that's definitely my why.
Yeah, to inspire people to. Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, inspire and obviously I'm like a very creatively driven person. Like that's what fuels me.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like work that much. It's the physical part of just doing it, like editing all the time. It's draining, but the vision is really powerful for me, so I could just keep doing it. That's kind of where I'm at now.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that would be those are the pros to kind of
those are some.
So there's pros. A purpose behind what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And you feel fulfilled when you do this.
It's the most fulfilled I've felt in terms of like work stuff.
There's a lot of people that can't say that about their job, man.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people can't say that.
I'm lucky in that way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the shit part about being a content creator?
The shit part is it's a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you're realizing right away. Like some videos some videos you put all this work into, and like I could put sometimes 20 hours or 20 plus hours of work into a video. I'm like, this is gonna hit. It's gonna go dummy viral. And it gets way less views than I thought. Or like I said, if you're not properly aligned, if the timing is off a little bit, like I just released a video yesterday, and it was a really well produced video. It was like I thought it was great, and it didn't do well, and so that's kind of a letdown. But like I'm in this position now where I'm trying not to let like my work related stuff control my emotions, because it does. Because you put yourself into this video and it doesn't do well, you're like, fuck, it really makes you feel shitty about it. So there's that. That's definitely a con.
And then sometimes I bet you can do a half-assed video and it
pops off.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Really weird. That's why I was having that conversation the other day with Shamar, and he goes, I don't think that content should go up. And I go, dude, just put it out.
Yeah.
Who are we to let the data speak?
Yeah.
Just
put it out.
And he's like, yeah, you're right. He goes, that's a good point. Just let the data do the talking.
Just put it all out.
And your favorite influencer of all time, Gary Vee, says the same thing.
Yeah, he's right on that.
He is.
He's right.
Goes, the audacity. The audacity.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I used to listen to him, not religiously, but I was like really into what he had to say. But after listening to him for a year, you realize that he contradicts himself so much that you're like, oh, okay, we'll see.
We were talking about that in the car, but I mean, the guy, all he does is produce content. So I mean, eventually you're going to contradict.
But that's not all he does. He has his whole wine side business. I think that's his main thing.
He's got his wine side business. He has the marketing stuff. He has his actual
NFTs.
Marketing agencies. I think he's done with NFTs. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is he?
Well, I mean, NFTs are done.
Yeah.
It was just a freaking
scam.
It was a big bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other cons? Let's get back on track here. What other cons would you say about?
So I like there's the.
So I guess you could say. Sorry to cut you off there. If I could put that in one word, what you just said, the bad part. So you put all this effort into a video.
Yeah. And
it doesn't pop off. I guess you can the job itself, it can be discouraging. I guess you
at times, yeah,
way to put it
for sure.
Okay.
But in that way, it strengthens you because you're like, well, you look at the bigger picture. Like it's going like this.
Yeah.
So like sometimes it's bad, but it's all in the bigger picture.
It's like a stock.
Yeah.
So if you look at your views from 2 years ago to today, I mean, you'll have up peaks and valleys, but it's in the aggregate.
Exactly. And I'm becoming more and more of like an actual influence in this little community.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that makes a difference. So some other cons, obviously doing everything myself. I like that, but also I'm doing everything myself. So it's like, there's only so many hours in a day. It's hard. It's easy to burn out, I would say.
Have you burnt out?
I have burnt out.
And what were the symptoms of the burnout?
I had a seizure.
Oh yeah.
This was like not too long ago.
That's definitely a symptom.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. It was that it definitely played a role in this whole thing. But yeah, anyways, that was like 2 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
2 or 3 months ago. And I was like, okay, I got to take a break. And yeah, I took like a week off and just chilled.
Just took it easy.
Took it easy for a week.
I remember that.
It's just your body telling you stop.
Yeah, you were just, yeah. I feel you on that.
But there's a whole other, anyways, we won't get into that. But anyways, other so it would be nice to get to the point where I could hire someone like a manager or someone to help me with like the like managerial type things, so I could focus more on the creative side of things and just be that guy. I would love that, just to be focus on the instruments, learn the instruments, create the content, and then maybe have an editor, and then have someone else to manage stuff. I'm not there at this point, but that would be the dream. Like have a 3-person team, just like a really tight knit team. That would be.
What do you have to do to get there?
Make more money.
Make more money. Fair enough. Yeah, it's expensive to have people underneath.
Yeah,
it's expensive to have a team.
Sure, you know all about that.
I do. Yeah,
especially if it's like a official long-term employee, right? That's contracted, right? There's more ties to that. I don't know how it works, but
how it works. So for
the government,
contractors are okay. So here's the thing: if you're a contractor, it's a benefit to the employer, and typically speaking, it can be a benefit to the employee as well.
Yeah, like
a contractor, typically speaking, it's gonna be someone who might be part-time, or they might have like, let's say they might be a contractor or a freelancer. Freelancers are another word for a contractor. Mm-hmm. You can freelance for different types of people. You can do work here and there. So you're not an employee.
Yeah.
And then that way they're the employer. So like for myself, I'm all over the place. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Let's say to make a nice, easy number, you make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
So $100,000 a year, it's not just you get $100,000 a year. KBD Insurance, we have to pay you 15% payroll tax on top of that. So we have to pay $15,000 on top of that.
Yeah.
We cover the group insurance as well. So let's throw another like $3-4 grand. So now all of a sudden we're like $18,000 extra just to pay that person.
Yeah.
And all this goes into C&E SST. There's employee rights and all this stuff.
Sounds like a fucking nightmare.
It's not a nightmare. It's just, it is what it is. And it's but what ends up happening is just like this cost just gets passed on to the consumer at the end of the day. That's all it is. So just things become more expensive for people buying stuff. So that's why you can go to places that don't have all these employee protections. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just, it is the way it is here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cost just gets passed on to the consumer.
Right.
That's what always happens. I guess
that's always what happens, right?
Of course. It's like if people are so naive to think that a corporation or a company are just going to eat those margins. It's like, oh, I just lost 5% margins. Oh, well, it's like, no, they're keeping that margin.
Right.
And the consumer is going to pay that extra 5%.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's why when you go to places like California or New York, California in particular, everything is so expensive.
I know.
So it's like, why is it so expensive? Because you have all these labor laws and stuff like that they think are helping and this is the debate till the end of time.
Yeah.
Some people are going to go, well, they're just going to take advantage of the employees. Yes, some of them will.
Yeah.
But it's like, there has to be a balance.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure Quebec is sort of like the California of Canada in the tax sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of taxes here for sure.
Yeah.
But to go back to like the contractor part, the advantage to that is that the employer, the person paying them doesn't have to pay the payroll tax and all the extra costs associated with having an employee. Right. Well, that's why all these, it's like a crock of shit sometimes when there's a bunch of politicians that were, remember when they said they wanted Uber? I think it was in New Jersey or New York. They go, we want Uber to be employees of Uber because they're all contractors.
Right.
Because they work whenever they want to work. And Uber's like, no, these people they have other jobs. And Uber actually has a case in this. It's like, no, these people, they work other jobs and they work for us like 5 hours a week. No, it's not an employee. It's a contractor.
Yeah.
And the politicians were pretending that they cared about the Uber drivers. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, because
they want the payroll tax.
It's a new issue.
They want the payroll tax. That's what they want. So they look at all the money. So if they're paying out $1 billion in wages to the Uber drivers, let's just call it $1 billion. I'm guessing. I don't know if that's the real number, but let's say it's $1 billion. Well, if you're making 15% of that, it's $150 million that they could be getting.
Exactly.
That's why they did that. They don't give a shit about the Uber driver. So it's all politics.
Same old story.
Yeah. It's all political theater and all this horse shit that I can go on for days about. Fuck them. Okay, we got to change topics right now. Okay.
Get heated up.
Yeah. Okay. What's it like building a personal brand? So I know like we just, not to repeat everything you just said because you talked about a lot of that there, but like, not so much the challenges. That's too big of a question. What's it like? Did you expect it was going to be this hard to build your personal brand on YouTube?
I knew it would be a lot of work because I was doing everything myself.
And before, I'm sorry to cut you off again.
Yeah.
Tell us your numbers on YouTube. So you have how many subscribers?
On YouTube, I have just over 30,000.
Okay.
TikTok, I'm like 34,000 or something.
Okay.
I have a YouTube Shorts channel, which is at 3,000.
Okay.
Instagram is at 15,000, I think.
Okay.
And I get like 2,000 streams a month or something on Spotify.
On Spotify.
Yeah.
Wow,
Ish.
it's pretty good. And that, so you post, I didn't even know this. You post beats on Spotify?
Yeah. I release music. That's a big part of why it's to give myself credit in a way.
Nice.
And also because I like to release music. And
Sick.
I was just talking to Joey about it. Sorry. And I would like to book shows again at some point, but that's a whole other can of worms. That's something else we could actually talk about how the real world is so much different from social media. So I thought that having a social media account would help me book gigs. These bookers don't give a shit about that. So it's like I have to like start from scratch again for the real world. Anyways, what was the question again?
Is it as hard as you
Right.
had thought to build yourself up to? And it's not like you just started this journey. I mean, you're 2.5 years into this.
Just over 3, yeah.
So just over 3 years into this, you're not gonna, you enjoy doing it. You're gonna keep doing it. This is your source of revenue to live. But is it as hard as you thought it was gonna be? Is it easier? Is it?
I knew it would be a lot of work, but like I tend to be a bit of a workaholic anyways. So I was like, well, I'll just make it work, and I did. So that's, or I have made it work, and that's kind of where I'm at. I don't really think about it too much, that part of it too much. I kind of just make it. I'm just like, I'm going to make it work. And that's always kind of how I thought. If I like something, I just put all of my eggs into that basket, so to speak, and just make it work. I don't have a plan B. Like I don't have anything to fall back on. So I think that helps. And yeah, honestly, I don't have like a super thought out answer for that. That's just kind of the way I am.
That point you just said, I think, has like a lot of impact too. The fact that
Plan
you don't
B.
really have anything to fall back onto.
Yeah.
So
it will fit from Gary V.
Yeah.
I didn't get
Another
it from him.
tip.
I didn't get it from him, but I identified with
If you go start a business, make sure, number one, you have nothing to fall back on. That's going to make sure that you succeed.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people who say that, especially in the arts too. It's like,
there is some truth to that.
yeah. It's like if you take a more secure job, like insurance is a lot more secure, but like in the arts, you can, but I don't suggest having a plan B, because otherwise you're just not going to commit fully to it. And you're always going to have this thing to fall back on and be
it's like the mentality is just different. Like the mentality is more dire, I guess you could say. It's kind of like, shit, I gotta,
you have to hustle to make it work.
Yeah. If I don't make this work, like, fuck, I'm not going to eat dinner tonight or whatever.
Yeah.
If that's your mentality.
Yeah.
There is something to be said about that mentality, kind of just.
Yep. I agree.
Interesting. What do you think's going on because I know one thing, this is a topic that I'd really like to get into. It's a very broad topic. And you've expressed before that, social media doesn't always make you feel good about yourself. Yeah. I can definitely say from my own experience, I tell people all the time, I'm very open about it. I guess by definition, maybe I'm probably addicted to social media. But when I'm going through, I hate Instagram. I hate my phone.
Yeah.
I really don't like my phone at all. I every single time I try not to look at it when I wake up in the morning. It just 9 times out of 10, I'm not exaggerating. It gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
I just get anxiety. I feel like, oh my God, I'm being rude. I have to answer these people. I have to, and I've been making more of a conscious effort to not respond to people.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be an asshole. I don't want to be a slave to my phone.
Yeah.
And so Instagram, for example, I always say this, I feel like it gives me FOMO. So let's say I'm going through stories of people. Yeah. So as opposed to me being happy in the present, doing whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm looking at everyone's stories going, oh my God, that looks amazing. Oh, this looks so good. I want to be there. Oh, what about this? You're on social media, I would say, more than the average person because that's your job.
Yeah.
Again, I know this is a super vague question, but what's your opinion on social media? Do you think it's good for society? Do you think it's not? We could basically just go, what are the pros and what are the cons again for this? Or however you want to answer this question. It's a super broad topic, but we can get into this.
Is it good for society? I have... I think that in some ways it is, obviously, like for someone like me. But I think overall to the average person, it's not, because there's so much, just the way it's structured, like the feed, your Instagram feed or even TikTok, it's just one thing after another. And it like just reads you so well. It gives you exactly what you want to see. They're trying to get you addicted. I think everyone's addicted. I'm addicted. I wake up in the morning. I want to look at my phone. I have urges to look at my phone often. I'm like, oh, what, did someone comment on my, like, it's just, it never ends. And I think in the long term, I don't think it's good for anybody. And I think we're going to pay for it in the long run, honestly.
How do you think we're going to pay for it?
We're not designed to be so stimulated all the time. And I think we're going to pay somehow. Like, there's going to be some mental thing down the line that comes out as a result of this. Maybe not directly, but I think it's going to play into that.
That's a good way to put it. We're not designed to be this stimulated all the time. There was some I forget who said this, or I saw this on the internet, but so it was a guy. So when you're on social media, it's dopamine. You're getting your hit, just constant stimulation.
Yeah.
And damn, I forget where this comes from, but there was an analogy. I don't know if this is true or not, but I believe it. And so there's a guy from, let's say, 150 years ago, before the music, before TV, before radio, before any of this crap. And he could be, or she could be, sitting in front of a piano and hearing the music.
Yeah.
And the dopamine that would come out of the brain would be the equivalent of basically like getting that hit on like Instagram today or something that. So it's like today, if I was to go sit in front, in other words, if I was to go and sit in front of a piano with no phone in my hand and just listen to the piano music, I could not do that for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't. And 150 years ago, I bet you anything that I could. And I'd be like, wow, this is amazing. Because you never hear anything like that.
Yeah.
Your senses would be going, what the hell is this? This is amazing. This is so cool.
Yeah.
So
or
it's
like think of your favorite song when the chorus hits.
Yeah.
That's dopamine.
Yeah.
There's so many other ways of getting it, but we're just like slaves to our phones.
I think we're slaves to dopamine. I'm addicted to dopamine.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. That's forever, right? Our phones are amplifying it, I think, and just making us more extreme.
So when you're saying, I know they're starting to actually be serious about. So for example, teenagers, especially in particular teenage women, get it worse than guys. I don't know the exact reason why, but they're talking about already with like 14-year-old girls going through puberty, I think more specifically, getting rid of their phones for high school and stuff like that. Like people are really starting to. There's
a movement for sure.
Yes, there's a movement saying like there's parents going, "Okay, this is not good for my kids."
It's
I don't
kind
want
of funny you mentioned that. I'll mention something here. So someone from New York Times, I posted something on TikTok about this like dumb phone that I got. It was like a trendy dumb phone. It's called Punked. Looks cool, and I tried it because for this exact reason.
It's like an old Razor.
It's a nice phone, but like whatever. It's a dumb phone.
It's call and text.
Yeah. Call, text, and there's you could also tether a hotspot if you have like your laptop with you or something.
Okay,
so
cool.
Super useful. I wish it had music. If it had music, I'd probably still have it. But anyways, so I posted about it on TikTok. Blew up. It got like 500,000 views.
Wow.
Literally. And I posted a few other videos. And so someone found this video from the New York Times, emailed me and said, "Hey, do you want to do an interview on this?"
So cool.
Yeah. And I said, no.
Why?
Because I wasn't interested in doing it. Because it's not related to what I do. So I said, fuck it. So anyways, I just sent her an email being like, listen, the phone is cool, but I found myself walking around with this phone plus my iPhone because we're like hooked to it for GPS, for so many other reasons. If I was traveling somewhere, I need my GPS. So I had two phones on me all the time. So I just got rid of this phone.
It defeated the purpose.
And now I'm back to the iPhone, just the iPhone.
I feel like if you really wanted to though, because you would have to be disciplined about it for sure, because you're going through withdrawal. If you get rid of your iPhone, you're going through like I'd be going through. Anyone would be going through withdrawal.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you were to actually be disciplined about it, and you had that flip Razor phone or whatever the hell it's called, was the design of it for that exact purpose? It wasn't. It's for people who are addicted to the phones.
It's a movement. It's a movement of people who are of this exact topic. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of their iPhones because they're addicted. Everyone's addicted.
I'm gonna do that.
Try it.
But
honestly, you'll see.
Well, dude, it's like the same thing. I'm notorious for my friends. It's just basically like if there's group chats, sometimes there'll be like there's, let's say 10 people and there's 4 group chats for the same 10 people. It's like, what the hell is going on here? I don't need this. I had one time, my buddy, they know this on like Monday morning, because Monday morning on the first thing, don't ask me when it's Monday morning at 10:30 a.m. and I'm at work and I got a shit ton of things to take care of. Don't ask me what I'm doing on Friday or Saturday. Like I'm going to lose my shit. Don't ask me.
Right.
And so it was one time, so there's a group of us, we all go play golf all the time. So it's 4 of us. And so on like Monday, 10:30, my buddy messages me, Curtis, can we come use your simulator on Friday? No response, no yes, no no. I just left the conversation.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, fuck you. Yeah. We're not doing this.
Was it a joke or that they were actually maybe a bit
I think it was a bit of both. I think it was a bit of both. But I think he was definitely trying to poke at me a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, here's a good one. Here's a little topic. What's it like navigating online criticism? So people talking shit.
I'm a pro at this.
Yeah?
Yeah. I got some good like.
Do you respond to the comments?
I respond to every single comment.
Really?
Yep. On Mondays, I take however long it takes to respond to everything on YouTube and on Instagram. Yeah, I respond to every single comment, even if it's a hater comment.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's it
I don't have convos because like oftentimes they'll respond to you again. I don't do that.
Yeah.
But I'll just give like, so for haters, you have to recognize that these are people. They're really sad people.
Yeah.
Obviously. So I recognize them as they just want to be heard, and so they're talking shit about whatever. Oftentimes they're like they pose as like know-it-alls on whatever product that I'm talking about. They'll be like, oh, you know, they'll just talk shit about the product and say it's a terrible product. And there's so much dialogue about that. There's like politics over products, which is actually good for people to, you know, go back and forth over that. But sometimes you just get some real hateful comments, in which case I have some good one-liners. Go to your room is the best one. I use that a lot now.
That's good. Go to your
room. Or whatever the person's name is you're coming in hot or something, just like really dismissive one-liners, and that's it.
Go to your room.
Go to your room.
I like that.
Yeah. Because there's, you know, it's a part of internet culture. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people who are disagreeing with each other, and even over fucking synths.
Yeah.
So
which
behavior.
Which platform would you say is the worst for in terms of the
YouTube.
The craziest
YouTube
comments?
and Reddit.
Oh, Reddit.
Reddit.
I'm not a Reddit guy, so it's like, what's Reddit like? They'll just tear you to shreds.
There's like different subreddits for whatever niche topic.
Yeah.
And there's like some snobs in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a specific one to synthesizers, and so there's a thing where you could like upvote or downvote whatever content. And the stuff that I post in this one Reddit, it's called synthesizers. It gets downvoted like 90% of the time, but I know that there's beneath the surface of like maybe 10 or 15 people, there's like people who actually watch the content and get use out of it. There's thousands of people in this group, so I post it either way. But it's always the same thing. There's always going to be like the first layer of people who are complete assholes and think that they run the group, and then underneath that, there's people who actually get use out of this content. So whatever.
Okay, let's get into, obviously you do this to make a living. Mm-hmm. Well, you enjoy doing it. That's always a plus. How do you make money?
Okay, so there's a lot of ways. So the first one is sponsorships.
Let's one at a time.
Yeah.
Sponsorships
is number one.
Yep. So give us an example, please.
So there's one sponsorship that I've had. Shout out to DistroKid. They've been amazing. They are a music distributor.
So online music distributor.
Yeah.
So I can go on their website. I can purchase a track and I can use that track.
So they're like a music broker in a way.
Okay.
So they're a platform where you upload your music to them, and then they distribute it to Spotify, to Apple Music, to blah blah blah, and they take care of all that, and then your music lives on all these platforms, right? So that's one way of doing it. So they're my number one sponsor, I would say. It's been like over 2 years now that they've been sponsoring.
Well, why would they sponsor you? Because they don't make any tools or synthesizers for you to give tutorials on.
It's the perfect thing, because if I was to get a synth company to sponsor me, it would ruin the trust of my audience in a way, because if you're sponsored, they think, he's going to talk he's only going to say the good things about the product and not the bad things. So it's a perfect combination of having something that's related, music distribution. There's a lot of people who are in the synth world who want to release their own music, so they'll sign up to DistroKid.
Got it.
And
they'll produce a track, they'll upload it to DistroKid, and DistroKid will distribute it to the platforms.
Yeah, to all the major Spotify, everything. And it's like it's just over $20 a year to do that. So it's like super affordable. They're great. They distribute 1/3 of the world's music.
Huh.
So to give you
is
an idea,
Spotify considered a distributor or no?
They're just a streamer platform. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know this until we started doing this. In order to get your music onto Spotify, you can't just upload to Spotify. You have to go through a distributor to get it on. Why?
Use DistroKid.
But what? No, I get that, but why? Why doesn't Spotify just buy up all the distributors, or Apple Music buy up all the distributors?
I don't know the answer to that, but it's just not what they do.
I feel like it's kind of the same thing. I'll give an analogy. So back in the 90s, there's this guy, Andy Roy, God rest his soul. I've mentioned him before. He died not too long suddenly. It was kind of pretty sad brain aneurysm, I think.
Ooh.
But he used to work in computers back in the day, like in the 90s. So computers like 10 grand. But he was a computer broker. So this is before. So he would sell Apple computers to businesses.
Okay.
If you want to get a computer from Apple now, you go directly to Apple. If you want to buy a computer from Microsoft, you go directly to Microsoft. So he knew that he was eventually going to be cut out. Going, what the hell do I need to be here? I mean, the brand recognition of Apple is unparalleled. Why do I need to be
It's a bit different because if you distribute your music to Spotify, there's so many other platforms that people can stream from. So Spotify can't just buy out all the other platforms. You need someone that distributes to all these competing platforms. You know what I mean?
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, there's the two main platforms. Between Apple and Spotify, they have 90% of the market in North America?
Yeah, most of it, yeah.
So, if you just go direct to them. Anyways.
They haven't done it.
Cool.
There are some other, about SoundCloud, obviously.
Yep.
So they've done that. They've become a distributor. But Spotify hasn't happened. That hasn't happened.
I'll bet you a lot of money that those companies will be purchased by either Apple or Spotify, and they'll have to distribute directly through them. I bet you that's.
You think so?
Yes.
I guess we'll see.
I think so. Time will tell.
Yeah.
It's eventually. I think for home and car insurance, I think I'll be cut out. For insurance brokers in Quebec, I think we'll be cut out for sure. Why not?
When?
I don't know. 10 years.
You think so?
Yeah. Look at AI.
Yeah.
Why do you need to speak to why do you need to wait a whole 30 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes to change your address or change your car, or when you have AI? It makes no sense. Maybe I could be wrong.
We'll see.
I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I could be wrong. Okay, we're getting off topic again. This is my fault, by the way. Okay.
That's okay.
So you're making money. So you got sponsorships. So one of them in DistroKid. What are other sponsors that sponsor you?
DistroKid's the main one. There's been some others. Let me think for a second, because mostly it's DistroKid. Roland.
Okay. Is that another distributor?
No, they're actually a synth company.
A synth company. Okay. But you just said that.
I know. But it's very specific instruments that I cover.
Yeah.
I won't. It's a bit complicated. I'm not going to try and break that down because I don't think anyone's going to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So Roland. What else? MyVolts is another one. They're like a cable company.
MyVolts.
They've sponsored one of my videos before.
Okay, so DistroKid, Roland,
MyVolts. Wow, I can't think of any right now. I work for. Okay, but this is a different thing. We'll stick to that for sponsorships because I can't think of other ones that. DistroKid is the main one for sponsorships right now.
And what are other ways to make money?
So other ways, I do content now for other companies now.
Okay.
So Moog Audio, they're a synth retailer here in Montreal. They used to have a shop in Toronto. They're a Canadian distributor.
Okay. Retailer or distributor? Retail means you sell directly to the public, or distribute, generally speaking, means you're selling to other retailers.
Okay, so retailer. Canadian retailer.
Okay. Was the ones the content for the main one you just said though? Before that, the content?
Moog Audio, yeah.
And so they just hit you up and basically they said, "Hey, do you have a contract with them?"
Yeah. No, it's pretty loose. It's pretty loose with them as well, actually. But
okay.
Generally speaking, it's like an email contract. You know what I mean? It's not
generally speaking. Marketing contracts for the most part.
Yeah.
In theory, the marketing company that we deal with, and it's pretty. It's we spend a lot of money with them, but at any point, and he knows this too. It's just, they're great, so it's not my intention.
Yeah.
But at any point, I could say, okay, I'm not paying for this anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's always like generally speaking, there's a retainer. How marketing companies do it. I don't know. Do you charge them a retainer or no?
Retainer?
A retainer means, so it's basically when marketing companies get to a certain size, they go, okay, it's only worth my time if if anything under, I only deal with clients if you're paying me $5,000 a month or more. So basically, I need $5,000 a month. If you're not going to give me $5,000 a month, I can't work with you anymore.
Right.
So that's pretty much.
So no.
There's no retainer?
No.
Okay.
There's just we just agreed on a salary and then that's it.
Okay, so you have sponsorships. You do content for other companies like Mugadio, and then you also have AdSense. How much are you making off AdSense? And can you explain for the crowd, for the audience, what AdSense is? Because I consider myself a Google guy. I keep saying Google guy. I understand the ecosystem very well. I run all the Google ads. I understand YouTube in terms of the paid advertising and stuff, search engine optimization. I love that stuff. I'm good at it. I only recently started scratching the surface for AdSense and kind of understanding exactly what it is. Can you explain to us the AdSense side of YouTube?
For YouTube?
Yeah.
So I get paid for a certain amount of views on my videos. It's not very much considering the amount of views, but anyway, so I make about around $500 a month, maybe $500-$600 just from the views.
Is that US?
No, Canadian. I would say 600 Canadian.
Okay.
And that obviously fluctuates. If I get less views in a month, then I get less.
So
money.
the 600, that's going directly to your pocket, or
Yeah.
that's okay? So $600.
Yeah.
And I do know this for a fact. Google gives 55% to the creators.
Google. Okay, so YouTube gives a lot more than that.
No, they don't.
They don't?
No. So for example, if I'm gonna, let's say I have $100. So KBD Insurance to spend $100 on YouTube. I'm paying YouTube $100 to put my advertisement there. So basically Google is going to pop it up on videos that get views like yours.
Yeah.
And basically, so the $100 that the advertiser, so KBD Insurance is paying to Google keeps $45 of the 100, and the creator would get $55 of the 100.
Okay.
That's how Google works.
Okay.
And there's other platforms coming up. I'm pretty sure Rumble gives more than that. Like one way to get into the market is
to give more.
Well, just give more. But as you know, there's like YouTube's YouTube. There's not really
they're
any
dominating.
other competitors unless you're in China or something which has their own
stuff,
ecosystem going on. But if you're in North America or in the West, I mean, it's YouTube. There's nothing. Rumble's catching up a little bit, but yeah. Okay, so what else besides AdSense?
AdSense, I sell digital products as well.
It's like what?
So
songs?
So sample packs. So basically sounds for people to use in their own music.
Sounds for people to use.
I'll record maybe like a drum set or something like that, and they could drop that into their own music and use it in their own music.
Cool.
That's how music is created a lot of the time. It's through sampling. Like if you listen to K Tronada or something, he's sampling everything.
Huh.
But he's probably doing it from records. But for me, I sell these samples, stuff that I've recorded, and people could use in their own music. So it's that's the collaboration.
What's the website that you post those tracks to?
It's called Sellfy. That's the platform I use. SELLFY.
How much does it cost to build a website like that? Do you know? Like in web development?
To build a website like Sellfy?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Huh.
I have no idea. But it's just a platform that I pay to use the platform.
Yeah.
So that's how they make their money.
And you post your stuff, people will go and purchase the tracks, they keep a cut, you get a cut.
No, you keep everything. You pay them per
they make
per
money.
year?
They make money off the abonnement. What's abonnement in English? Off the subscription. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's another way. I also started giving online lessons
Virtually.
I just perfected my setup recently.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that as well. I don't give too many of those because I don't want that to be like my whole schedule. So I 1 or 2 days a week, I'll have some people who take lessons, and that pretty much sums it up. That's like pretty much my entire income.
Huh. If you had to pick, so we have 5 of them. So we have the sponsorships, we have the content you make for other companies.
Yep.
We have AdSense, which comes from just basically, you know, if you have a video that's popping off, that goes
dummy viral.
That goes dummy viral. You're making more money. You have your online lessons, and you have the websites like Sellfy where you sell your tracks and basically Make money off that. Okay,
Yep.
Interesting.
And then also you make a little bit of money from streams, from like streams on Spotify.
How much money you make on that?
Close to none. So it's almost negligible, but technically it's another income.
How much does a guy like Drake make if he's getting like 1 billion streams?
Drake?
Yeah.
Let's look right now. He's probably making,
or like a Taylor Swift or something.
Let's check Drake. I'm curious.
I bet you Drake has 100 billion streams altogether. I bet you more.
Yeah.
I bet you
he's the top in terms of like number one hits.
Yeah.
He's the top ever.
I know. More than the Beatles.
Yeah.
People don't realize this.
I know. It's crazy. Okay, wait. So Drake, 70 million streams a month. So that's
it? More than that. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, 70 million streams.
70 million. So 70, let's say times.
What was it?
He probably gets around
1 cent a stream.
Probably gets around 4K per mil. So he's making 280,000. Wait, that can't be right. 70,000 times 4. Yeah, he's making 280K a month, which is not considering how rich he is. It doesn't sound like that much.
Yeah, that's like that's like play money for him.
Yeah,
$3-4 million. That's all they pay the creators. Huh? Interesting.
But that's a lot. That's a lot. And there's a lot of like smaller artists. Do you know who Mac DeMarco is?
No.
He's another artist, and he's probably getting 13 million, 14 million streams a month. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good money.
Where do you think we're going with platforms?
In what do you mean? In what sense?
Like all the influence that these platforms have over our lives.
I think that everything is becoming individual.
In what sense?
So you have YouTubers who are, most companies go to YouTube for ads now.
Yeah.
Whatever. So let's say you have a channel about soap. The soap companies will come to you, or synths or whatever. So you're cutting out the middleman. You're just going straight to the source, straight to the creator. So I think that's a big thing. Mr. Beast talks about that a lot, actually.
What does he say?
He's like, yeah, well, why would I go with a company? Like, you could just find an influencer. They do a much better job. They care about what they do. It's a better product. There's no, it just goes straight on YouTube. There's no like red tape around putting stuff on TV. Probably make just as much money off the product if you sell. Seems like a pretty good answer to me.
What would you say is the best platform?
For me, YouTube.
And it's the best platform. Why? It's the easiest to get reach. It's the most engaged audience. It's the easiest to make money off of.
For me, it's the I'm putting out tutorials, so you get people who are actually really into the content and want to learn.
Yeah.
Whereas on TikTok, it's the way the algorithm works. It just like throws it in your face, and it's just so quick that it's not as valuable. So everything, it's like a funnel. Everything kind of goes to YouTube for me. Yeah. And that's where the sponsors are too, because there's actual engaged people who like the product and actually would consider buying it. So there's that too. It's much more educational. It's much more engaging, I think, over time. It's much more valuable in so many ways. So yeah.
What's your opinion on Elon Musk taking over Twitter?
I don't know if I should talk about this.
You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
I don't want to talk. I'm indifferent.
Okay.
I got nothing to say.
Fair. Okay, so for YouTube, it's basically like... Here, this is what I want to talk about. What is... Maybe you probably won't want to talk about this either. Would you agree with the fact that like that a lot of the platforms do engage in censorship?
I think so, yeah. I don't think it's as... Here's what I think. I think that censorship, the idea of censorship is a niche in itself.
Is it what?
It's a niche in itself.
Yeah.
It's good to make content based around censorship.
Yeah.
And people watch it and they go, oh, things are being censored.
Yeah.
For sure, things are being censored. But
for sure.
But
I want to make it clear too, like you need some form of censorship on one of these platforms.
Yeah,
otherwise it'd be the wild, wild west. Like you need to have some form of censorship.
Yeah. I don't like when ideology gets involved.
Yes, that's where I was going with this.
But I think that the bigger picture is that people are getting sucked into another topic of entertainment, which is censorship. And I think that's the more important issue, is that people are talking about censorship and it just it's too extreme. It's blown out of proportion. Yes, things are being censored, but I think that most of the time it's like rightly so. It depends who you ask.
Yeah.
But that's sort of what I focus on, is more like where the attention's going and why, and not so much the thing that's happening. So it's like a different perspective.
Would you ever leave a particular platform? Like if they, for you, I mean, you do nothing ideological.
It's not even close.
You don't touch politics. You don't you don't talk about any of that stuff. But like, let's say something got to the point that was so egregious.
Yeah.
That was so like, yo, what the hell? You guys are really censoring stuff right now. Like it got to a point where it's just, okay, this is not okay at this point.
Yeah.
Would you consider leaving ever? Or I guess money talks, so it depends how much money you made off that.
I don't know how if it would ever get to that point.
Well, there's one thing here. I'll give you an example, and this is not. And by the way, this is even like Google who don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. I hope no one else wants this to happen, but no one's speaking up on it. I think it's called like BC11. Anyways, it's a stupid internet censorship bill that the Canadian government wants to pass.
I heard about that.
And basically, the CRTC would regulate our YouTube feed, and they're going to crack down on if they catch you using a VPN. They're going to crack down on that, man.
Yeah.
Dude, what the hell? Yeah. So they're basically trying to, and the U.S. is trying to do the same thing. And this was what they were talking about with banning TikTok. And so it's basically, this is not just like left or right. This is government coming in and basically going, okay, the internet is quite free right now.
Yeah.
And they don't like that.
Yeah.
The U.S. and Canada and a lot of other governments, they don't like this part, but it's basically like C11 is legit. The CRTC is going to regulate your YouTube feed.
Yeah.
To make sure that the content on the feed is Canadian enough, whatever the hell that means.
Right. And
for like, does that concern you at all for someone who's a creator?
For me, it doesn't concern me because the content that I make is not even close.
No, but what I'm saying is that's not what I'm getting at. I'm not saying because it's whether it's political or not.
It's just the premise of it all.
Well, no, what I'm saying is what if like now the YouTube algorithm is Google's algorithm is out the window. Now it's a CRTC algorithm, which is basically they're not going to know what the hell they're doing.
No.
It's going to be news, CBC.
Yeah.
It's basically going to be like watching cable television. I mean, does that not concern you?
If it goes there, for sure, yeah. That's shitty.
But like this is what people don't realize. They think it's like, no, we're doing this to protect content creators. Once their foot's in the door, I mean, it's basically, why would it not become like cable television?
Right. So you think they're going to monetize on the internet and YouTube?
Absolutely. Okay. They want to regulate that, like just like they did for television. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure back in the day when radio and television came out, there's probably a lot of stuff. It's like, holy shit, what the hell is this? Like, we need to kind of, let's have some rules here to what the hell is going on television.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but it's at the point now where like, look, I'm not saying you don't need censorship. You need censorship. And I'm sure it's an extremely complicated issue.
Yeah.
You know, what do we censor? What do we not censor? What's free speech? What isn't free speech? What about this? What about that? There's a lot of things to take into consideration. But when you talk about basically going on, hey, we want to censor your YouTube feed, or we want to censor once their foot's in the door for YouTube, what are the other platforms they're going to start censoring?
Yeah.
And Google, by the way, is against this as well. Google does not want this to happen because it's going to cost them money.
Right.
So like no one wants this to happen but the governments.
So where are they on the bill right now? What's
They keep trying to ram it through and the Conservative Party is stopping it.
Right.
So it's like whether it passes or not, I have no idea, but they're trying to pass it through.
So you think that if it goes through, that the internet will become more like cable and you have to pay more for different services?
I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. What I can say is they are trying to make the governments are trying to make, this isn't a conspiracy theory.
No, I know.
They are trying
I know
to,
what's happening.
They are trying to control what you're allowed to see on the internet.
Right.
And when you start putting in penalties for using a VPN, they're serious about this.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we want to control the narrative. We want to control. I don't want the government controlling anything of mine.
I agree with that. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And a lot of people realize, like,
there's a lot of creators who've talked about this.
Of course, dude, it's a big deal for the creators. This is horrible for creators.
What's her name? She's a giant TikTok creator. She's got blonde hair. Call me Chris.
Okay, I was gonna say Jenna Marbles.
She canceled herself, bro.
She was like the OG original one. Yeah. She was great.
Yeah, but Call Me Chris. She's a great creator, great entertainer. She's from BC. I think they're a bit more conservative over there
In BC?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And she
Joey's from Vancouver, so
They're very liberal.
yeah,
very liberal.
BC's like Quebec, bro. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Joey, Vancouver.
So she made a video on that actually.
Yeah.
And she was saying like, block this bill. We don't want this to happen.
Yes.
And she has a big influence. So yeah, it says a lot for sure. And I'm just not sure. Yeah, I honestly I don't know what to say about it because I don't know like what it's going to look like if this bill goes through. Are they just going to be moderating like more political content, more, you know?
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to read this.
Because
and I don't care. Again, like this is the reason why I'm talking about this. This isn't left, right, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. This is like just the government itself. I don't want you regulating what I see on
for sure
on the internet.
For sure.
I want to have my own feed. I like my feed. I like seeing sports. I like seeing this.
They'll screw it up somehow, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And imagine how bad the algorithm is going to be. Like if CRTC is regulating, oh my God, it's going to be like.
Well, hopefully they'll have like, you know, the same, you know, developers working on it, but they'll just somehow.
Yeah, right. You're living in La La Land here. Okay, this is a Google blog. Oh, wow. Okay, so this from Google. Mm-hmm. Okay, YouTube. An update to our Canadian creators and users on Bill C-11. Okay.
You know what's been blowing up my feed recently? Blink-182.
I love Blink-182.
Because they recently did a Coachella concert, like a reunion, because Tom DeLonge's back in the band after a huge hiatus. And so it's been exploding my feed. Where do we go from here? Feeling this.
Okay, here. So here's something, Liam. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're back. So basically, there's a lot of stuff basically just saying what it does. Where does YouTube stand on the bill? So Bill C-11. Right now, Canadians are in the driver's seat of their YouTube experience. They come to learn, to be inspired, and to build their businesses. Our goal is to keep that way rather than putting the government regulator in between viewers and creators, deciding what gets pushed forward and what does not, and ultimately who wins and who loses. So in other words, the government's deciding what you're allowed to see, not based off of the data. So Google sees like thumbs up, interaction with the actual post itself or the actual content itself. It's the government deciding what you see.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's terrible.
Based on the bill's current language, the CRT. So this is how will Bill C-11 impact digital creators? Based on the bill's current language, the CRTC would have the authority to determine how content appears on the platform, including the YouTube homepage and Watch Next section. Apply CanCon rules requiring creators to prove that each individual video that they upload meets the complex legal definition of what is Canadian enough to qualify. This means more time and resource allocations for smaller creators and gives advantage to large Canadian media companies who have the resources to do so.
Yeah.
Require artificial promotion of some creators over others based on CRTC priorities, which would impact how content reaches global audiences and hurt viewership and revenue. Regulate the amount of time and type of advertising on creators' channels, limiting their abilities to earn advertising revenue. So basically, it's like you have to go through this. You're adding in another layer to go through the CRTC in order to promote this content. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I really hope it doesn't get passed. People should know about this. And I mean, I really hope they don't pass this. I think they're going to, though.
For me, it's not the content itself that I'm worried about. It's the fact that the government's going to just fuck up the whole algorithm somehow.
Oh, they will.
And make it worse for creators.
Of course.
For everybody.
Of course.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to be the people who have deep pockets and the money who are going to go to the top, just like in television.
Yeah.
Like TV right now for, now and for at least as long as I've been alive, if you want to be on TV, you need a massive budget. You need to basically already be a celebrity. You need to work with an agent to get you onto TV if you want, if you're an actor or stuff like that. You can't just go on and post something. And like on YouTube, the beauty of YouTube is you can post something on a phone, and if it gets views, you upload it for free.
I just wonder how it's gonna affect the community, because the culture on YouTube is so different now. It's so individual. It's all about the creator. So like, are people even gonna watch it anymore? Because that's what YouTube is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's probably why YouTube is like, we don't want this bill to be passed.
No, they don't.
It's gonna explode everything.
They don't.
Yeah. I don't know. That is definitely worrying for someone like me. I don't know where it's gonna go. Hopefully they don't fuck it up too much. Hopefully hopefully it's more of a political thing, where, I mean, obviously that's still shitty, but for in my case, hopefully it's more of a political thing instead of like a grand picture thing. Because if it's just political content that they're sort of
what's going to end up happening is that there's going to be other platforms that don't allow this. But then basically if they crack down on using VPNs, the Canadian government or the American government, whatever. So let's say, for example, everyone goes over to Spotify. So let's say Spotify, their video platform section starts blowing up.
Right.
Okay. So like, okay, crap, great. They went after YouTube. We're going to get all these viewers. The government would just say, no, you're not allowed to do that either. The same rules that apply to YouTube apply over to Spotify. We're going to regulate the feed on the video feed on Spotify as well.
Wow.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's basically just.
But isn't the point of a VPN that you can't track the computer that's using the VPN?
No, you can technically, if you want, you can track anything you want. It's kind of like the same thing. So a lot of these people, blockchain, which was supposed to be, what's the word I'm looking for? But there's like no ID. So basically, like the point of blockchain was it's a faceless transaction. Yeah. So it's like it's what the fuck's the word I'm looking for? It's basically hidden.
Okay.
It doesn't go into a ledger. Okay. So it's basically like, whereas if I'm paying you, it goes from bank account to bank account to bank account to bank account. It's very easy to track where the money went and what's going on. So blockchain, they were just saying like, oh no, that's not blockchain. It's a completely private transaction. No one can see where this is going.
But you still can track it.
No, you can, and now they actually have companies that can go in and they can so like through technology they can kind of see all the transactions that you were doing anyways.
And the VPN VPN is the same thing.
VPN, to my knowledge, the VPN. If you want to track anything on the internet, I'm pretty sure you can track whatever the hell you want. And like people.
But does it cost money to do that? If they make it so difficult to track it, does that cost? Is it even worth it for the government to pay to track it themselves? I don't know.
We're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea. But like a VPN, all it does is, because it's like, so from here, it's just going from my phone. So I have an IP address on my phone. It's going to the server. So let's say it's a YouTube server in California, wherever the hell it is.
Yeah.
So straight there.
Yeah.
A VPN, all it does is basically goes from here to that VPN and then to like a million different IP addresses. So it fucks with, they have no idea where it's going, and then it gets to the server.
Because usually because the fine is like thousands of dollars, I think, for using a VPN. This is what they're proposing.
I think it was 25 grand in the US.
25 grand.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, it's a sign that it's just scaring people from using it.
I think you're right.
But they still can't really track it.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
But it's the companies that they're going to go after.
And
VPN companies. So that's, so in the end, it's the same.
Like an ExpressVPN or something like that.
They'll have to be like the Pirate Bay version of VPNs now. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's anyways, it's an interesting topic. All right, we went down a rabbit hole. I don't really have that much more to talk about. If you want to talk about some other stuff, anything you want to mention? Any plugs you want to put in? I mean, you think it did a pretty good. You do your content stuff.
Okay, I'll talk about one last thing.
Yeah, sure.
So something else that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Another source of income. Actually, there's two more sources of income. There's affiliate links, which I didn't mention before.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing. I'm working on an online course.
Yeah.
And I think that this is another sort of way of the future if this whole government thing doesn't pass, because I'm sure that'll fuck with shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm working on a course. Basically the behind the scenes of what I'm doing or what I've done to create the channel that I have now. And so it's a course just giving you everything that I've done. Specific to music producers or music creators or artistic creators.
So is it a course on how to become a musician, or is it a course on how to become a musician influencer?
Strictly marketing.
Okay.
So whatever you want to do, it's like, this is how I've done it. This is how I've marketed my music and
this is how I've grown
content.
my channel.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
So it's not about the art itself, because that is so subjective. It's like, I'm not going to try and teach that to somebody. It's about, if you have something that people like, or you think people like, this is how you distribute it to all these different platforms and grow an audience and things like that. So that's the next thing that I'm working on, and really excited about it. I'm probably going to do some ads on it, which we've talked about. You've done ads.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's my next big venture.
Do you have a concern because of how fast things change, how fast the platforms change, how fast they update, how fast, like, I'll give an example, a very obvious example, marketing that you learn in university, let's call it digital marketing.
Yeah.
Even if you have a digital marketing class, by the time let's say you graduate, and by the time you actually work in the industry, it's a year and a half later. A lot of the principles that applied in university are probably not going to apply anymore. Yeah. Is that something that concerns you when you're making all these courses?
The way that I've done it, it's so organic. I think I still have some pretty useful information that will track for a while, for at least a few years.
Yeah.
Because I've exploited, that's not the right word, but I've used all of these different platforms, and I've figured out how to use them to my advantage. And it's very like forum-y. I'm going into the forums, and I'm like contacting with, I'm speaking with actual people. So yeah, I think that's it's a pretty powerful tool, and I think it still will be relevant, like within a obviously not for 10 years or anything, but probably at least 3 years or so.
Yeah,
3 to 5 years maybe.
So can you give us just like a little sneak preview, because this is something that myself, Joey, Shamar, and Natalie have been discussing. What makes a video get organic reach? Anyone can go on, have a shitty video, post it on Facebook or Instagram, put money behind it, and oh my God, 100,000 people saw this.
Yeah.
And as soon as you stop pumping money behind it,
goes away.
It's going to drop off a cliff because it's not good content.
Yeah.
So what makes a video? I know you can do this a million different ways, but in your experience, what makes a video? What's the word you said?
Go dummy viral.
Yeah, go dummy viral. What makes a video pop?
There's so many different things.
No, but if you had to like kind of
it's what you're saying. It's whatever it is that you're saying. If it's original, if this is for your domain, I would say, like for podcasts and stuff, if it's original, or if it's obviously it has to look nice, which it does.
Yeah,
great job. I think that's the most important thing. Like Mr. Beast is a perfect example of
aesthetics.
This. No, well, actually, Mr. Beast is a perfect example. The first few videos that he filmed, not the first few, like hundreds of videos probably, are filmed on like basically iPhone quality camera, worse than this. And he built however many thousands, and then it just sort of built from there. So yeah, honestly, it really depends. But the number one thing is the content. And then afterwards, if you have the budget, make it look nice. And find your...
But I want...
I have one more point on this. So when you think of a podcast, think of any podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The Nelk Boys, or I don't know. What's a podcast that you listen to?
Joe Rogan. Everyone listens to that Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay, he's a bit different because he goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Think of, what's the other one Chips, what's it called?
All In podcast. Yeah.
So when you think All In podcast, what are the things that come to your mind? Canadian politics, or politics in general?
They talk about politics, technology, business, a bit of science. Yeah. And I just like the fact that they're all informed. They're all very well versed.
Right.
And it's a very balanced conversation.
Right. So what you go to that podcast, that's what you're going to get.
It covers, generally speaking, current events going on from the lens of, you got a guy that's a Republican, you got a guy that's a Democrat, you got a guy that's pretty, and then two other guys that are pretty centrist.
Yeah.
So you're getting a really good point of view. You get both sides of the argument, and they do it in a civil way. They're not yelling at each other, and they're all friends. And that's why I like going, okay, it's like, ooh, that's a good point. Ooh, that's another really good point. I like that. It's a good balance.
And so that it's like it's almost like a feeling that you get. You watch this podcast and you get that feeling. And
I feel like
remember that.
I feel like they're not, pissing in my cereal and telling me it's milk. It's like I'm getting, it's not the narrative. It's not.
Yeah.
I think, and sometimes they're wrong, it comes across as authentic. It's not a narrative someone's trying to push on me.
Right. Yeah, so that you go to them for that. Let's say you listen to Bobby Lee or something in his podcast, Tiger Belly. You go to listen to some fucked up shit about his trauma. It's like, that's the brand. And then you go, so everyone has like a thing. Yeah. And so find that. For me, you go to
Bobby Lee.
You listen to, you go to me for like specific synth products. I'm not covering all the synths. I'm covering like very specific types of synth products. So that's the niche that they go to me for that. So I think that's one thing that everyone needs to think about within their creation. It's like, what are people going to me for? Like,
find a niche.
What's my thing?
A niche.
Yeah, 3 or 4 things. Be like, well, I'm going to focus on that. That's what this podcast is.
It's interesting that you say that, because the other podcast I listened to, the PBD podcast, Patrick Bet David, it's pretty business focused, a little bit politics.
Yeah.
He made all his money in insurance as well. Actually, he lives down in Florida, and he said the same thing. He said, when I first started the podcast, it was very niche. It was very streamlined. Okay, this is my focus. This is what he was able to grow a business. It was like, I was good at growing a business. I was a good operator. I'm going to make a podcast on business. I'm going to have people in. And then he started venturing off into other departments. So then he had like a really interesting podcast with gangsters. He had Kobe Bryant on his podcast. He's had a lot of like serious.
If you get to that size,
he had Jordan Peterson. Like he's an A-list podcaster. He's up there with
Joe Rogan too. Same thing. Like he could get anyone he wants.
But that's why it's like, what's so interesting about Joe Rogan, he's such an outlier, because a lot of times people say, no, you need a niche, stick to it. Joe Rogan is not that. Joe Rogan has anyone and everyone on the podcast.
But he doesn't.
And
he has
explain.
He has like specific topics that he brings up. Like I said, cancel culture is a brand in a way.
Yes.
And so he's going into that.
He's anti-cancel culture.
He's anti-cancel culture.
I feel like everyone is, but
yeah. He talks about fighting a lot.
Yeah, UFC.
He talks about like really interesting, like masculine kind of like castles. I don't know, castles and like pyramids, and cars, and all this kind of shit.
UFOs.
So, UFOs, conspiracies. So that's 4 things that I think of when I think Joe Rogan. He does he talks to a lot of different guests, but like I find that the topics are oftentimes very
comedy.
Yeah,
talks about comedy.
He covers it a lot. He's like I think he's an exception.
Yeah,
but still, that's 5 things.
Yeah, I guess
there's so many other things that you could talk about.
Yeah, you're right. Because you're right. Because he has a UFC guest.
Yeah,
he has comedy guests.
Yeah,
he has political guests. Trump's gonna go on the Joe Rogan podcast, and so is DeSantis. I can't wait for that.
Really?
I can't wait to see how entertaining the battle between DeSantis and Trump is going to be. It's going to be amazing television. It's going to be hilarious.
I don't know, man. We'll see. I don't know.
I'm just looking forward to the entertainment.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone's going to be watching it.
Okay, so if I could put that into it, if I can summarize what you just said, because it's like, hey, how do we make a video pop?
In order for a video tangent there. Yeah.
No, not really. So it's like, I'm just gonna zoom. I wrote it down. So basically, what you're saying is, with regards to the content you're creating, just make sure it's niche.
Yeah. People come to you for that specific thing.
Be known for that.
Yeah. So I think, especially for a podcast, it's like no one knows you yet, right? So it's like eventually you'll build an audience. And they'll be like, oh, I'm in the mood for this flavor. I want to see people talk about this thing. So I think that's one thing to focus on. And then obviously alignment is, like I said, for me, alignment is a big thing. I think it's a bit different for a podcast because you're just kind of you're just going. I guess alignment for you would be like just talking about relevant topics, whatever's happening in the world.
That is something that does well, I've noticed. When you talk about current events and put your spin on it, put your opinion on it. But then the only thing, it's like for me, I got to be careful because I'm tied to
insurance.
I'm tied to KBD Insurance. So that's why for certain things, I try not to go left or right because you're cutting off a whole.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, for example, I was to go, I'm left-winged, example. It's like, well, I'm cutting off 50% of the audience. That's not very smart to do.
You're apolitical. You should
I try as much as possible. Yeah. But that is one thing, for example, like the Bill C-11, it's like, no, that's just, this is, this is not a left or right issue. Yeah. This is
or like,
hey, I don't want you regulating. Yeah, save the
bees is another one.
I don't want you regulating my internet feed. Thank you.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah, it's been good.
Liam?
Props.
Did I mention that Liam wrote the theme song for the podcast?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, we forgot to
Shit.
mention that. Yeah, the podcast team that we're about to rip, Liam came up with that. I'm like, Kate, I need something 1980s vibe. He sent me a couple of samples. He's like, I got you. And he sends it off. And
That's actually another thing that makes you go dummy viral, the intro music to your podcast.
Yeah. But thank you so much. So, guys, if you liked the podcast today, I do apologize. We kind of went off on a couple tangents a little bit here. But
it's good, though. I like that.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation. I learned a few things. I knew about most of the stuff. But if you like the Freemium podcast, subscribe. Also to Liam Killen, my brother. He has a YouTube channel, Liam Killen. Subscribe to his stuff. If you are a musician or you have friends who are musicians, check him out. He knows what the hell he's been talking about. Trust me, since like 8-9 years old, he's been in the music world. It's you live, sleep, eat, shit, breathe music, I would say. You've always been in it, and I think for the rest of your life you'll probably be involved in music. And
I'm all in, baby.
So, you're all in. There we go. But thank you so much, and yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Good. All right.
Ciao.
Thanks.